If you don't want this baby to starve, then you'll help save Chuck at chucktv.net.
Oh my God.
Help us fill this bottle.
So you want to figure out how to save Chuck, right? So go to chucktv.net for all the information. Help us out. Love you.
You were about to enter Chuck versus the podcast, the place for people who love Chuck and the people who work on Chuck. The only show that takes you behind the scenes with the stars.
Yvonne,
Zachary Levi, Joshua Gomez,
Ryan McParland,
Adam Balba,
Sarah Lancaster,
Interactive interviews.
Julia Ling,
Phil Clemmer,
All the cast.
Dixon High, Tony Hale, Scott Krinsky, Mark Christopher Lawrence,
Anita Friederici,
Fun hosts.
This is Mel. This is Liz. Now you can see how wacko we are.
The writers.
Ali Adler, Scott Rosenbaum, Zev Barrow,
The editors.
Matt Barber, Jeff Granville, Kevin Mock,
Contests.
We are giving away a Chuck press kit.
The directors.
Jason Ensign, Norman Buckley,
The guest stars.
Steve Austin,
Kristen Group,
The music.
This is Tim Jones.
Guest hosts.
I'm Kaylee from Toronto.
Conventions.
Lights come up, and here comes Jester out on stage.
Set visits.
this is the guy right here.
And much more. Are you ready? This is Gray.
This is Mel.
This is Liz.
And we want to welcome you to Chuck versus the podcast. And this is a special episode, episode number 50 for Saturday, April 10th, 2010. And it's our second episode for this week, featuring Mel's report from WonderCon.
Yay for WonderCon. Boy, that was an experience. Liz and I have been to Comic-Con a couple of times now. And it's, you know what, Liz? I think we maybe should have started with WonderCon because it's crazy, but it's smaller.
Oh,
So,
smaller's good.
Yeah. So that's my advice for anybody who hasn't gone to WonderCon yet, or to Comic-Con yet. You might start out with one of the smaller ones. WonderCon's a nice one. It's only like 45, 50,000 people versus Comic-Con, which is about 150,000, 160,000.
Wow.
So yeah, I was a little amused to find myself thinking, oh, this is so small. But anyway, it was a lot of fun. I was primarily there for Chuck, of course, but I was able to sit in on some other panels and interviewed some of the folks from Human Target, which was, that was interesting. And that was fun and interesting. But let's see. Oh, I bumped into Brent Spiner and John Delancey. Cool. Yeah, Data and Q came around the corner. We were walking through the exhibition hall and came around the corner and we're like, holy crap. Data and Q. Wow. I think they were there for an autograph signing. I didn't see them that they were doing a panel. So,
wow.
Like, hey guys. So I guess I'll just kind of walk you through the day. Does that sound good?
Yeah, sounds great to me.
Okay. Well, Sunday was Chuck Day. And I had a press pass, which meant I got to go back to the press room and do interviews. So, showed up and checked in with the guy from Warner Brothers, who's very nice and professional, and made us feel comfortable. I was there with Angie from the Sarah Walker Fangirls, was also attending her first time, and I know she was a little bit nervous, but I think he made her feel a little more comfortable, which is always good. So when we go in for these press rooms, it's literally a room, and they have a bunch of round tables set up, and usually they'll have like 5 or 6 reporters sitting at a table, and then the talent is brought around to you. So you're not moving around, the talent's moving around. So we all sat down and introducing ourselves and recognizing each other from various publications and blogs. And then a publicist came over and said, no, we want to consolidate you all to one table. And so then we were like 11 people, 12 people at one table.
Oh, no.
It was a little full. But we were smart. We maneuvered it so that the talent would be in front of the WonderCon backdrop instead of the ugly empty tables. So
that's cool. Yeah.
So we got some pretty good photos and video with the nice WonderCon and Comic-Con logos in the background.
Cool.
We were kind of proud of ourselves for that. But we had the trio of Zach, Josh, and Adam. They were having them come through together, which was amusing because then they could kind of play off each other.
Mhm.
But also, Zach is so charismatic and he's such a cheerleader for the show.
Yeah.
And of course, he's the lead. So most of the questions go to him. He answered most of the questions. We didn't get to hear a lot from Josh and Adam, but there are a couple of pretty good moments. There's a really sweet moment from Josh when he's talking about the legacy of the show and having people come up to him and not just say, "Hey, you're that guy from that show," but he says, there's such joy on their faces.
Oh.
Saying, "Oh, you're on Chuck." And that was a really sweet moment. And there's also a moment where Zach makes Adam blush, which was pretty funny. So we'll go ahead and go to that interview and let you see the guys talking about Chuck and ribbing each other.
Very cool.
All right.
Good morning.
I love everybody with the flips now, man.
That's
It's just-
right.
every time you go to a con or some kind of junket technology, you can just see the advances in technology. Everyone's got a new gizmo.
Except you.
Oh, whatever, that's fine. Don't hate on it. It still works, yeah. If it ain't broke. There you go, there's a flip.
Have you guys shot the season finale already?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we wrapped about 2 weeks ago. Right? Was it 2 weeks ago? Yeah. Yeah.
Any cool action-packed stunts you got to do, like for the big finish?
Well, I'm not at liberty to say. They kind of tie our hands. Every script, the first page says something to the effect of, "We really love you guys and keep your mouth shut." I mean, it's like we can't, which by the way,
last one was even worse. There was like 7 pages of that.
Yeah.
The same thing.
We get the we didn't even get the last 4 or 5 pages of the last scripts.
That was
the first time that's ever happened. Where we didn't get the last pages because apparently there's a mole. There's a leak somewhere in the world of Chuck, and it kept getting leaked to people like Osceola, and so they were like, who we love, by the way, and he's given us a lot of love, as you guys have as well. And but it's important. You can't. To me, it always boggles my mind that people would want to spoil that stuff anyway. It takes away from the whole experience of any show, especially a show that's so rooted in like certain mythologies and whatnot. It's like, why would you? It just kind of ruins it for everyone.
It's like you got your presents before Christmas,
Yeah.
It was sort of like,
Which is awesome. Bad example.
So you're going to end next week, but now you had that extra 6 episodes. What was it like kind of adding on to the storyline that you already planned out?
I mean, I think it's more of a Josh and Chris. I mean, from an acting standpoint, I don't know. I mean, you take it week by week anyway. They had to really kind of map out the arcs as they were going to be, and they had a 13 and then a 6, and it wasn't like a big 19. But in some ways, I kind of think it's cool in that way. It makes it different than a regular television season. But I don't know. We got to do a lot of cool stuff in the last 6 episodes. I think that some of the fans are frustrated with how some of the relationship stuff went down between Chuck and Sarah, Chuck and Hannah, Sarah and Shaw. And I don't know. At the end of the day, it's just television. It's like, calm down. It's all going to be okay. Although I also don't want to denigrate it because I understand, especially with a show like ours, where the fans are and should feel so connected to it because they were such a part of saving us and us being back. I can understand why they'd be like, "Hey, we fought. Like, don't toy with us." But I would just say we're not toying with you. We're just trying to make the best decisions we can with the orders as they came down, and just stay with us, and it's okay. It's all going to work out, I think, in a way that everybody's going to be super stoked.
I really like the emotional resonance when you finally revealed. It seemed like you were your acting was great. The scene where you revealed to Morgan that you were a spy, you're tied back to back, and that scene, a lot of emotional resonance. And I'm wondering is there going to be more of the you two buddying up and more of the emotional best friendship moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I loved about finally, getting that to happen was now Morgan gets to be involved in this world. The longer I have to lie to anybody, the longer they're out of the loop, and you can't incorporate them into the world, and it's difficult. I mean, it's difficult from a writing standpoint. It's difficult from an acting standpoint. I don't know how many times I can lie to my best friend and him still be my best friend. You know, we talked about that a lot. It's or lie to my sister, you know, and they're intelligent characters too. So it's like, where have you been, Chuck? I was on an install. Okay, you know, like you don't want to do that too long, and everybody gets that. So we get to come on.
Yeah. It was great. No, it was amazing. I was waiting since the pilot. So, and then to have Zach directed, and we just had so much fun. It was such a big episode. It's such an important episode. So I was honored to have him helm. I looked that up. And it was great. And I got to do more scenes with the big guy, and that's just, I mean, you talk about you talk about Odd Couple. You haven't seen fantastic Odd Couple.
Yeah, I remain skeptical about that. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah.
Oh, it blossomed.
Yeah. Oh, it blossomed.
In bloom.
Well, I've got mixed feelings about Scott Bakula coming back because I love him. He's a great character, but it has the potential of turning Chuck's world upside down again. And that's what I like Chuck now. I like the Chuck, the spy Chuck, the suit Chuck. But I'm afraid that Steven is going to do something because he never wants Chuck to be a spy. He never wanted to do this.
Yeah.
So I'm fearful for the last 6.
Don't be fearful. Don't be fearful. This was, I guess, if anything, because I think this could address a lot of the fears that people have about Chara, if I could be so bold as to use that term, which I hate. Or anything with this show.
Walker-Towski.
Walker-Towski?
Yeah.
How come I'm always... oh, no, I guess in Chara I was the first part of that, and now Walker-Towski. Okay, I see. Oh, I see. No, I think that people... I'm stoked that people are as invested as they are in some of these elements of the show, because that's awesome. That means that people care, you know? But I think that everyone should know that in the broad strokes of how everything comes together and the things that I think make up the show and that people love about the show, the writers do too. I don't think they want to do anything that the masses wouldn't want them to do. They're trying to make it as compelling as possible along the way. If Morgan just knew out the gates in episode 1, you've got nowhere to go. If Chuck and Sarah just got together in the beginning of the 3rd season, I think you'd have nowhere to go. And one can make the argument, well, they've been strung out for 2 seasons, like, isn't that the time to do it, or whatever? But you got to build in these places. But the end result is one that I think is going to be fulfilling for everybody. But you got to stay with it. You got to stick with the journey. And a lot of people are like, I'm done. I've been on the boards. Okay, I've checked out the boards. And people just get so crazy. I'm like, just patience is a virtue. I don't know. There are things I've been waiting for 6 years on Lost that I still go. I still come back because how can you not with Locke? Come on, brother. He can walk. He can't walk. He's dead. He's not dead.
That's for you. It's a fan pin.
A fan pin. It's the Dharma fan.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm wearing that now. Adam.
You stick a fan pin on your uniform.
Casey and Sarah have gotten a lot closer this season. Are you ever going to see a Casey and Sarah hug?
Come on.
Please?
Sort of one of those hair.
No, a real hug. Like I thought was going to happen at the end of the last episode when he told her that he killed.
Off the record?
Sure.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, probably not. He's not a hugger.
Not a hugger.
He and Sarah have so much closer that I feel like they should hug.
I hug others.
Ah. You and Chuck hug?
Yeah.
There is another.
What about a Morgan?
Well, we could call it an embrace.
An inadvertent embrace.
Embrace, yes.
Yeah. But
I think we should just use air quotes for the rest of it.
You still have your man parts after that.
I do. Oh, he allowed me to keep it.
I got to kiss him, so.
I got to kiss his man parts. You always
And his band parts.
That's an entirely different show.
Yeah, it's Thailand.
Many of us have been talking to you since the show started. How far do you think you've come in 3 years?
As individuals or as characters?
As a show.
I'm a
civilian.
Yeah, you're a civilian.
Yeah.
We'll see how long. Man, I don't know. It's been a roller coaster. It's been amazing. We're still here. We're at WonderCon again. If we get another season, we'll be at Comic-Con again. Yay! And Comic-Con's always so fun. WonderCon's been great. You know, our fans are incredible. The shows, you know, I don't know. We've never been a juggernaut. We're always just kind of, you know, a wait and see show. But if you're going to be a wait and see show, it's great to be a wait and see show that you know people passionately care about. And as an actor, you just want to be a part of something that means something to other people. You know, even if that's 5 million people, if that's 10 million people. I don't know.
Will it hold up over time?
Yeah. Another. Yeah. But I think however long we go, I think in years to come, we'll be one of those shows that had its little place in history, whether that was because fans bought Subway sandwiches to save it, or because it was this, you know, incredibly unique thing that...
We talked about that, you know, I think when we were kids, there's those shows, and like, I just can't believe that one day, like you said, when this is all said and done, and it could be 10 years from now, 15 years from now, whatever, some kid's gonna come up to you and be like, dude, or like, dude, you know, he might be a man at that point, but you're Chuck, I watched you every day, or every Monday.
Yeah.
And you were what I wanted to be, and you were, you know, and that's pretty cool. I think that there's that, you know. I mean, if it wasn't, you know, it's like the A-Team or whatever, or just Little Woman MacGyver,
or like even like obscure movies like that I remember as a kid that meant everything, like The Last Starfighter, like. Sure. You know, like I wanted to be Alex. I wanted to go and find an arcade game that would somehow.
I thought I could do it. Yeah. You know? Give me that machine. I can get there.
I can get there, man.
I can prove it.
And have a robot version of myself that stayed on the home world. I don't know. This has been such an incredible experience in so many ways, and I think that maybe, you know, in some ways, I think if we were a huge hit, it wouldn't be the same experience. It'd be awesome, but it wouldn't be. It wouldn't be the same grassroots, very tied with your fans. Well, maybe it would be. I don't know.
There's something about, you know, I guess it's the underdog story that maybe appeals also to.
Yeah.
It's always, you know. And I told these guys yesterday, but I was. It's also just, it's amazing how I don't know what it's like to be on another show. I don't know what, like, you know, the big giant juggernaut shows. I don't know if it's the same thing. But when someone comes up and recognizes myself, Zach Adams, you know, there's always just sort of just a lot of joy. It's just really like, it's different than just like, oh, that's somebody I recognize on TV or a movie star or something like that. It's just sort of like, I have fathers come up and go, I get to talk about your show with my kids. I get to watch a show with my kids. I get to do it. And that part, I think, has really been sort of the coolest thing for me over these 3 years, just how much families enjoy it and enjoy it together. I mean, from 70 to 17, whatever, you know what I mean? It's just like, I'm like...
7.
Yeah. 7? Really? You've been a 7? I've never got a 7. You never got a 7-year-old that watches the show? Well, all right.
My niece does. She's 7.
Yeah.
She loves it. Yeah. She wrote you a love letter, but I forgot to bring it. Sorry.
We have time for one more question.
Well, what can we expect for Casey in the last 6 episodes of this season?
He's going to continue his struggle to figure out whether he enjoys remaining a civilian or not.
She's shaking her head.
Please don't. Odds are.
Is there
odds
any?
are he won't.
Sarah Walker.
There might actually be blackmail involved.
Is there any implication that he would enjoy being his civilian?
He looks pretty good in a Big Mike suit, does he not?
How do you think this show has affected you? How do you think this show affected your career and you?
I'm sorry?
How do you think this show, the past 3 years, has affected your career and you?
I just always appreciate the steady work. I think, especially when you have a group of people that love coming to the show and serving the show like we have. The cast and crew is dedicated, hard-working, long hours, and perhaps it's further entrenched my niche as the funny thug.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks,
All right.
Is he a shipper?
I think I'm a Jack and Kate. I'm a Jack and Kate. I mean, yeah. It's
They're the original.
They are the original.
Yeah.
And they should have been that in season 1.
Thanks, Adam.
I Thank you.
And we're back.
So after we talked to the guys and got some fun stuff from them, we had Chris Fedak come over.
Cool.
And Josh Schwartz was there, but he wasn't in our room. I think they were like tag teaming. So Josh was talking to like the E-News and people like that, and Chris was over talking with the print reporters.
Mm-hmm.
So we had Chris Fedak come over, and we got a chance to talk to him a little bit about the season and some of the developments of the season and how it's worked for them. And he gave us some interesting answers. So we'll go ahead and hear what he has to say.
I don't mean to disparage your cliffhangers. Maybe I'm just a bad viewer, but I have a feeling Sarah's going to be okay in tomorrow night's episode.
Well, first off, if you guys haven't been told, we're actually going to run that episode here today.
But for my readers that might read this on Monday morning, like, am I on the right path here?
Let me say it this way. Sarah will be alive at the beginning of the episode. But there's a good chance she might not be alive at the end. But that's I love it. I love your T-shirt. That's awesome. That's fantastic. No, but we have really this episode that's going to run today is an amazing. I'm going to use this term we overuse on the show. Game-changing episode of Chuck. Everything is on the table. It is huge. Momentous things are about to happen in the show, and they will happen in 2 hours.
But I also thought when I saw the reveal that spoiler, right? Caleb Brandon Routh's character's
his wife.
His wife, sorry. That there's probably a perfectly good explanation for that.
There's not. In truth, I think what we find in the world of spies is there's not always a perfectly good, tied up in a little bow reason for everything. The most important thing is that she found herself in that position so many years ago, not knowing what she was about to do, and it happened. But there are not always answers for everything. But it will be discussed tonight.
So obviously you've dealt with a lot of fan, I don't want to say backlash, it's very strong, but there was a lot of upset viewers. Do you feel almost like too much responsibility? Do you feel like fans of this show kind of dictate a lot of what you're trying to do, or do you feel like they're being patient now that you kind of reminded them that things will work out in time?
Well, I think there's two things. One is that most of the season was actually completed by the time we went to air this. So the fan response for us is always important. I probably read too much. Every post I read. So Anonymous, when you're out there, you are hurting me. So many Anonymouses. But no, I do read everything. It's certainly something that we consider, and it's because our fans are quite wonderful and they're so important to the show coming back this season. I would say that any Chuck fan is worth 4 fans of any other show. They're really an incredible lot. I think that from my perspective, especially looking at the first 13 episodes of the season, for us the season was, when we were looking at it, it was like very much could be the last season of the show. We only had 13 episodes, and that the most important thing was, not the most important thing, but at the heart of the show was the Chuck-Sarah relationship. So we designed the season for 13 episodes to deal with that relationship and to take it to a resolution. And so when I think that if you think about the season from 19 episodes, which were added on at the end, we had already built this first 13. So the next 6 are going to be different. It's less focused on the Sarah-Chuck relationship. It's more about, the kind of the spy side of the show, the family side of the show, and with Scott Bakula's return, the Chuck-Dad relationship, the Bartowski family relationship. So there's a lot of things going on, but I think that for us, that we were designing this whole thing, but once you're in the middle of it, it's kind of like, I can see how there's a lot of anxiety, but here, we're going to a very emotional place.
Can I ask, is the season finale written as an open-ended, is it cliffhanger? I'm not knowing yet if you're going to be picked up for next season. Was it written more as a season or series finale?
I think my feeling in regard to even if we come back or don't come back is that I like, instead of epilogues, I like prologues. And so there's a prologue component to our season finale this year, episode 19, and I always get excited by that. So there's definitely that kind of part of the show. I don't think I would ever just simply kind of like turn off the lights and it's like what a great way to end a story. No, it's like I want to know what's going to happen next. I want to know what I'm supposed to get excited about. I want Commissioner Gordon on the roof talking about there's another guy, the Joker. I need to check into that Batman. Wonderful. I'm so excited going forward. Claude Rains and Humphrey Bogart walking off into the nest. What are they doing? It's fun for me.
So you guys would never consider doing like, if let's say the show got canceled, doing like maybe like an Animal House style where you just have one sentence of what happened to everybody, just so we know. Because I'm one of those people that I have to know what happened.
You have to know what happened.
Not know. I have to know what happened. Just tell me one sentence.
It was just one sentence. Everyone lived happily ever after.
Yeah.
Morgan went to construction in Orlando, Florida.
Gone and lived happily ever after.
Casey still somewhere in South Vietnam.
You would never consider. You just leave it.
The thing, first off, I wouldn't consider that as my first choice of action. We did last season go into it. There was a good chance we were not going to come back for season 3, and we still put to be continued at the end of the which is crazy a little bit. But for me, it's not my first inclination to do like those little titles at the end. However, I love Animal House. I love any John Landis movie. I can see how it could be like a reference to that, and maybe I would be kind of open to it. I would be kind of open to it.
I know, like the last 2 minutes of like last season's finale, it's probably got more YouTube hits than it knows what to do with. I mean, like the Chuck, I know Kung Fu thing. I mean, it's like in the millions of hits out there. I found it online, and it's amazing. So it's almost like you almost set it up like the fans are demanding that it come back.
Mm-hmm. We've had high, we have set high expectations. We for our season finales. I think if you do manage to watch episode 13 today, you'll even see that here in this episode, which was designed as a season finale, that we leave nothing on the table. We will mess with our show. We will change things. We will explode the idea of the show. Nobody is safe, and nothing is off the table. Nothing is off limits. Going into the episode 19, we kind of knew that. So now we had one season finale we were like really happy about. Congratulations, high five, and then we see like 6 more episodes. So now we have to kind of go like, oh, what are we going to do? Do we tell more stories? So we told more stories, and then we had to come up with an even bigger, crazier, season finale. And we've kind of done it. We're in the midst of editing it now, so it's crazy.
Well, I guess that's one thing I posed to Zach. I said, with Stephen Bartowski coming back, I said I was fearful as a fan. I'm scared because Stephen has a habit of turning his world upside down. He does, and I like the Chuck right now. I like status quo, but
I know it's like there is like there's a point in the there's been a point in television where you could do the same show over and over again each week. And I think for us, the great challenge and what's so exciting about the show is actually being able to change the show, but still have it be the Chuck show. It's not all of a sudden about Jack Bauer. Like Chuck doesn't become super spy who does super dangerous things every week and is a dangerous guy. It's still Chuck Bartowski, a regular person, but it is definitely when Stephen J. Bartowski comes back into the show, it's a huge thing for the show, and things are never the same when he leaves. And so there will be epic emotional changes to the show. The season finale is filled with that. It's really we've only just completed the first hour of it, and it's emotionally, action wise, everything is on the table. We leave nothing. Yeah. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that. It's not we leave nothing, but we leave,
right.
we let it all go.
This is it. All right.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Chris. Thank you very much. Yeah.
So yeah, it's always good to get a chance to talk to one of the showrunners, since they tend, especially Chris, since he's the one who's there day to day, and is, I think, the more hands-on of the two. And of course, he wrote this last episode that we saw, Chuck versus the Other Guy.
Yeah.
And we were just about to see that when we were talking to him. So I kind of wish we'd had a chance to talk to him afterwards, so we could, get maybe a little more insight into the actual writing of that episode. But it's always a treat to get a chance to talk to him and any other guys.
Yeah. Oh, he's a great guy. I had a great lunchtime with him in LA. He, of course, treated me to lunch as most of the people there did. But it was really, really cool.
I was just going to say, it sounds like you had so much fun over there. And one of these days, maybe I'll get to sit in on one of those, even just a panel.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to make it happen, Liz.
Yeah.
I know the schedules have not meshed previously.
I've not been sorry, but because I've had some good stuff, but boy, I sure miss seeing me some Chuck.
Yeah. So after the official interviews with us were over, they went over to the big media outlets like E! News and some others that I didn't recognize to do some on-camera interviews. And so I was watching that unfold and got a couple of cool pictures of the guys being interviewed together. They really do get along so well.
Mm-hmm.
They're clearly having a good time. So then it was time for Zach and Josh to suit up for the E! News interview. And there's this gag that Zach started with E! for the Save One Show poll, where he said that he would do anything to get a fourth season, including having Joshua Gomez's baby.
Uh-huh.
So they decided to run with that and have him for their E! News segment wearing the pregnancy, the fake belly, and the shirt that says Josh's baby, and it has an arrow pointing down, his belly, and then Josh there with the shirt saying "Proud Papa." And they even had like a doll and a bottle, and a stroller, which Adam was carrying around. It was pink, hearts on it, and I'm not sure. I didn't see the actual interview, but I got some video of them suiting up, and that was pretty funny. And then Adam was standing there too, and videoing with his phone. That was and cracking up. He was finding it quite amusing. These guys were doing so. That was a funny little added extra. Most of the other reporters had left at that point, so I was there just to catch up with someone else and happened to be in the right place at the right time. So that was fun. So we'll go ahead and show you some of that video so you can just kind of get a feel for how crazy these guys are.
If I'm wearing the t-shirt too, I should probably take
I think they're going to boom you, so you're the lucky guy that doesn't have to get mic'd twice. Yep. Sweet. Yep. And then when you we'll grab him as soon as he's back. Maybe while you're putting the baby bump on. Yeah, that's
Don't mind me. I'm just getting Gregors.
Well, I already did my part. So
you'd like to think so.
Oh, he's carrying pretty low. It's going to be a boy.
Okay, so
I love that they gave you like the
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
It's kind of pointing past the baby to the baby.
Apparently, Josh's baby is something else.
Excuse me.
No.
No. He's,
in this, yeah.
And guess what, San Francisco? Our baby's a Dodger fan.
Oh, boo that baby. Snap. Blue words.
Now, honestly, I'm still this fat, and we've already had a child.
With a child.
With another child?
As soon as you guys are mic'd, we're going to back up and do a couple of stuff.
Am I getting double mic'd?
Yeah, you are.
Two crews.
EPK and Warner Brothers.
Are you sure all of these wires are good for the child?
You already have the radiation.
Our child is going to come out with wires and a controller. It's already
Whose idea was this gag?
I think I may have just said off the cuff that I'd have Josh's child.
What are you doing, baby?
What do you mean? Oh! It's like magic.
Okay, I think we're going to do.
Where'd you get that one from, me, love? Drop another one.
I'm sorry. It's okay.
I think we need to do like, you need to like kind of like
Baby
hold
messes
it.
it up, though. Yeah, Josh's baby.
Yeah, that shouldn't be here
You
yet.
can have the bottle. No, the bottle's good.
That's the first one. Number
This
two's
is the
on the way.
practice.
Aww.
One look over here. Let me compose myself. No, now you can't read the shirts. You gotta read the shirts.
Can't believe I'm doing this in front of Adam.
Why are you? Oh, So maternal.
Hilarious.
Honey, they're
Get one line written all over it.
I don't really know what face to make. What face to
Sorry, Chuck. It's currently pregnant.
Make a face like you have to give birth.
I think you're supposed to be glowing.
really on my knees. I have to talk this whole thing.
And we're back.
Yeah, those guys, nutso.
Yeah.
But they did take the time to do a couple of shout outs for us about the campaign, the Chuck Declassified campaign. And,
Great.
And be sure to stop by chucktv.net to find out more about what you can do, since we're kind of collecting the different ways that you can support the show for a 4th season. So they did a couple of shout outs for us. And you know what? I did bring a prop this week, and the prop is my right hand, which Adam Baldwin shook. I just wanted to.
Which you're not washing anymore?
Well, I did. Yeah, I just thought I'd point that out.
Yeah.
But that's my prop for this week.
Cool.
But yeah, they were really nice and happy to do it. And Zach and Josh, of course, went off on a riff because I was laughing so hard from their initial little sound bite that I didn't have time to say thanks and turn off the video. And so they just kept going, and it just got funnier and funnier. And so I couldn't stop laughing, and so they just kept going. But so I think that just about wraps up the press part of WonderCon. After that, we were able to go in and see the Human Target panel, which was pretty interesting. If you haven't watched that show, it's on Fox, and it's from the same production company as Chuck is.
Oh, cool.
So I didn't even realize that until I was looking for something else later, and go figure. So, and of course they're both produced by Warner Brothers. So, and they were showing the season finale. They showed the season finale of Human Target.
Really?
Yeah.
You didn't tell me that.
Oh, sorry.
I think we woke up
it's
this.
Really, there's a lot of, there's a whole lot of backstory for Christopher Chance's character in this episode. And
oh my gosh.
A lot of how the group came together, and I don't know, it's interesting. It's, I'm just going to go ahead and say, game changer, and everybody can just take a drink, even though it's not about Chuck. And, but it's a good episode. I think it airs next Wednesday, I believe is the season finale, but check your local listings for that. So after that, Eric from IGN came out. He was the moderator for the Chuck panel and said, we've got a big surprise for you. Instead of just doing, a preview or a clips package, we're going to show you the whole episode 13.
Wow.
So yay, big cheers. And so we settled in and watched Chuck versus the other guy with, and we said this, didn't we, from Comic-Con? Oh wait, Liz wasn't in there.
Yeah.
There's just nothing like watching a Chuck episode or event with 2,000 or 6,000 at Comic-Con other Chuck fans. It's just unreal. It's indescribable. So I think that was really, I was really very, very privileged to get a chance to do that. That just is another plug to say anytime you get the opportunity, you should take it and do it. Assemble your own enormous group of friends to watch an episode of Chuck sometime.
Yeah. Oh, I have 2,000 people with me all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
sure.
I know. It's your posse. Nice posse.
I imagine that would have been really fun to be in on with all the crowd reaction and gosh, that's great. That's great.
So tell me, what got the biggest laughs and what got the biggest ooh?
Well, Chuck saying at the very beginning before the credits saying canceling the tank. That got a pretty large laugh. Casey asking for his suit.
The black one.
Yep. That got a chuckle. Not a chuckle. I mean, when it's that many people, it's not a chuckle. Let's see. Jeff and Lester inviting Casey to join their crew. That got a big laugh. The Yoda line was, a laugh, cheer, hurrah thing. Hybrid. That was pretty good. Sarah saying, "You're still my Chuck." That got a huge aw. And then some cheers, because and then the yes, yes, yes. And so that got a lot of cheers. Something that was interesting was when they were coming out on stage, Adam Baldwin is huge at these conventions, right? Because of, everything he's done in his career. But this time, I think Joshua Morgan got more applause and cheers.
Really?
Than Adam Baldwin. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, that would not surprise me.
And he was blushing about it too. And Zach was kind of ribbing him about it before they, turned their attention to answering questions. So, yeah.
That wouldn't surprise me because, like I said, I think this has been Morgan's season.
Mm-hmm. And it was coming off such a strong Morgan episode.
Right.
Too. So, he got a tremendous amount of applause, which was gratifying.
Good for Josh.
Yeah. He didn't look quite sure how to take that, but he loosened up pretty quickly. And soon they were talking about flatulence and spastic colon and
those boys.
Because there was the inevitable, do you guys play pranks on the set question?
Which
brought a lot of groans from people that were like, you're wasting a question on that. But it did lead to a pretty hilarious riff where they were like, well, Yvonne's not here, so we're just going to tell you. Adam says.
Oh, no.
Yvonne likes, flatulence. That's Yvonne's prank. And from there, at some point, Zach was talking about the book Everyone Poops.
Oh, no.
And then something about, anyway, it just goes.
It got worse.
Yeah, it just went from there. Josh said that his biggest prank was pretending not to know his lines.
Mm-hmm.
And, everybody loved that one. And Adam's like, yeah, that's hilarious. So they were having a good time up there. Trying to think what other interesting things. Oh, Zach did mention that somebody asked him, I think the first question from the fans was, how can we ensure that we get a fourth season? And Zach said, the most important thing to do is make sure you watch Chuck live. And then he talked a little bit about, how it's all about the television advertisers. And that while DVRing is great and he does it too, that's not really going to help the show. And then he talked about, watching it online. It may be more convenient, but make sure your first viewing of the show is live on Monday nights on NBC. So, he just really reiterated that point. There was some acknowledgement from Josh Schwartz and Chris Fedak about how upset the fans were after Versus the Mask. I still don't think they quite got what it was that had the fans so upset, but it's over now, so it didn't seem right to harp on it.
Yeah.
There was some talk about Morgan, the progression of the character, and somehow this led to some Adam Baldwin, Josh Gomez cuddling, and then the new ship is going to be more Gacy or Morgan, depending on who is saying it. Fedak then said, they had kind of been pushing for love interests, and it looks like we just worked that out. So that was pretty good.
They don't quite have the chemistry of Chuck and Sarah.
Not quite,
no,
but
not quite.
Yeah, it could grow.
And a new set of shippers were born.
Yeah. Somebody asked about guest stars, and Zach clarified that despite that geek-tastic photo, Nathan Fillion is not a guest star on Chuck yet.
Darn.
They do film on the same lot, and Adam Baldwin does have a history with Nathan, so you never know. It could happen. Keep those fingers crossed. And then they talked about finding out that Christopher Lloyd was going to be on the show.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Zach apparently went over and was banging on Josh Gomez's door to tell him, and Josh was flipping out, and they were both just, flipping out. And Zach says that, he may or may not call him Doc in that episode. So, yeah.
I think Chris Fedak actually gives confirmation about that in his interview with Mo Ryan.
Yes, he did. Let's see. Oh, then they were also talking about Julia Ling being back, which brought a lot of cheers.
Mm-hmm.
To which Josh Gomez was quite hurt and said, "What?
No.
She broke my heart, you guys." Always on that guy.
Yeah.
And somebody did ask Adam if we would be seeing his ex-fiancée and his daughter again, and he tried to be very circumspect and say, when significant characters are introduced, there has to be a resolution of some kind, and then he's kind of looking at Schwartz and Fedak to, I'm trying to obey the rules, and then because he's Adam, he finishes up with, plus we already shot that, so. He got it in there, which so we don't know exactly what that is, but
yeah, well, because of course they've shot everything up to the end of the season now, so
right, they filmed the season finale, so apparently we have not seen the last of Casey's past.
Well, and I don't think we would really call this a spoiler. It's just a general thing, but Chris Fedak mentions that the rest of the season focuses a lot on family, and specifically family Bartowski.
Mm-hmm.
But we know that they often have layers where they use contrasting relationships.
Right, parallels and...
Mm-hmm. And so it would be very interesting to see, as Chuck is dealing with family Bartowski, if Casey might be dealing with family Casey.
Well, it would only make sense if they're living in Los Angeles. I mean, how long is Casey going to be able to stay away once he knows this? And then he has a daughter. It's got to come into play. It just gotta.
Yeah.
So that was the end of that panel. But a lot of, as we were filing out, I was hearing a lot of, "Oh, that was so awesome. That episode was all awesome." And they did ask us not to spoil anything in specifically, since we had seen it the day before. And I was really pleased to see that most people stuck to that. They just, spread the word that it was an awesome episode. But there were obviously some major plot points that could have been spoiled. And I think it was pretty spoiler free out on the internet. So
not for me.
Why?
Well, I was stupid enough to open up Twitter during the show.
Oh, no. I mean,
I even shut my email down now because sometimes, of course, I'm Canadian, so my live viewing doesn't necessarily count. But often I have to work late, and I come and catch the episode on the DVR. And so there's been a couple of times now in the last couple of weeks that I've had some pretty major spoilers come in. At first, I only checked the Twitter @ replies, like the ones that were coming to me, because I thought those would be safe, and I thought, well, maybe there's an important message that's going to come, and spoiler. And then okay, I'm going to close the Twitter. I'm just going to have my email open, and one came in on the email, so I got to close them down now.
Gray.
Yeah.
No, they were referring to not spoiling it before it aired.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I know what you were talking about, but I was pretty upset last night. It was someone who was watching it who had already seen it. It was on the East Coast. It was in the last 15, 20 minutes of the show.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Yeah, it was difficult. I know there were a few people, Kay Lindsay and Snickers, they were there. They're frequent Chuck TV posters, and they were having a very hard time not saying anything, trying to respect that. But they did it. Good job, guys.
Good job.
Yep.
Thumbs up.
Let's introduce our panelists here. First off, we've got co-creator, executive producer of Chuck, Mr. Josh Schwartz. Next up, fellow co-creator, executive producer, Chris Fedak. He plays Charles Bukowski, Zachary Yvonne. introduce the newly reinstated Colonel Casey Adams. So, I guess we know they will now. That's settled.
It's about time. Is that what it is? You're not wrong. You're not wrong. We did it in Paris.
Zach, was that your reaction when you saw the script and saw finally it happened?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm with you guys. You know, I mean, it's been a tough relationship. There's been a lot of ins and outs and backs and forths. But you know, but it was all in good time, and it all built up to something, and all the shippers can now be satiated, I guess. Are you happy if you're playing? So yeah, man, it all worked out good, and what better place to consummate the relationship with the Eiffel Tower standing tall. Symbolism.
We're going to be going to audience questions in a few minutes, so if you guys want to start getting ready for that. First of all, I have to ask, though, Mr. Schwartz, Mr. Fedak, this episode was originally going to be the season finale. When did you find out it wasn't going to be, and how much did it change from what you originally conceived it as?
After we had written it. Yeah, I mean, essentially, we designed the whole season to get to this point with Chuck and Sarah in that room in Paris, and then when we got the order for 6 more, you have to either take those 6 episodes and pad everything out, and I think the shippers would have killed me. Yeah, not me, you. Or yeah, me. Or we told a more story, and that's kind of what we decided to do.
It actually works out great for fans because you get what was designed to be a season finale in the middle of the season, and then it's on us to ramp it back up again, so you get like twice as much excitement.
It's a win-win. Can you tease at all where we're going to go from here and where the next 6 episodes are going to take us?
No, we cannot. We just showed you tomorrow night's episode.
That's true. You all have to keep it a secret for 1 minute. I have to ask Mr. Gomez over there, this has been a fun season for you. Having not seen this episode originally a day ago, I was going to just ask you, hey, is it cool to be in on the secret? But now at the end of this episode, you're part of the team now.
And he's thrilled.
You're welcome.
Yeah, no, it's been amazing. I've had so much fun this season. You know, just to start from season 1's eating garbage out of a crisper, out of a refrigerator, to now being Team Bartowski. It's awesome. It's great.
So will Morgan eventually get some fight scenes? Will he get some combat training?
We'll see Casey attempt to train Morgan in the art of combat.
There may be an attempted training montage.
They actually make for a really great spotting team, the Casey Morgan combo.
It's the more gay citizens.
The more gay citizens.
It's a Charles,
It's a Corgan. Thank you very much.
The Corgan.
Adam, how do you think? I mean, Casey, he did a good thing there. He did a solid for Morgan getting him on the team, but is he going to be very happy having to deal with him day to day now, you think?
As long as he lives up to expectations, sure. I don't know if that's in the cards, though. There will be some fumbling.
How high are the expectations to begin with, really?
For you shippers out there.
I bring a certain side of Casey out, for sure.
I was going to ask if they were going to get love interests, and so maybe we've got something going here.
They've made their case today.
Before we go to audience questions, I just wanted to ask about Shaw, obviously an interesting character for the audience this season. When you introduced him, did you you already know right from the get-go that this is sort of where it was all going to lead for Fran?
Yeah, that arc was designed. That was part of the pitch of the character when we first met with Brandon, and we warned him that any man who tries to come between Chuck and Sarah will face some mighty blogger wrath.
I gotta ask you about that because, the episode Chuck versus the Mask airs, and you've got a very loyal, great fan base here, but, some people weren't quite so happy after that episode. Is that an interesting thing for you guys to sort of see that's out there on the internet?
Yeah, I mean, the most amazing thing, I think, is watching the show with an audience, which you don't get to do like we did today, which you don't get to do very often. Second to that is reading the talkbacks in the Seppenwall blog of the episode, or your blog, or what have you, and seeing that reaction. I mean, we knew we were pushing the story in a direction that might be uncomfortable for some fans, but we asked you to be patient, and we hope that what you witnessed tonight was worth the wait.
With some audience questions here. Please, I'll repeat someone from yesterday who said, can you make it a question at the end? We definitely know we all love them, but no marriage proposals, please, today. Thanks, guys. Do we have the first audience question?
Yes, the first question is, we're all huge fans of the show, so what I'd like to know is what we can do to help make sure that it comes back. Going to Subway.
Do they have to buy 2 footlongs this year?
You're the veterans. You would know better than us.
Yes.
You're doing this is part of it. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to say. I'll say this. And I think that Josh, anyone who follows Josh or myself or Adam on Twitter, any tweeters. Do it. You have pom-poms, that's insane. So I'll say this, and it's been said on Twitter, and it's been said on many blogs and whatnot. The most effective television watching is live television watching. And to add to that, watching it any other way than live is, I hate to say it, but it's almost non-effective. Advertisers need to know that their advertising dollars mean something. And if you zip through commercials on DVR, which is beautiful for us with the DVR, I do it too. If you watch it on Hulu even, you only have one commercial break in each one of those commercials, or one commercial in each one of those breaks. None of that means anything really at the end of the day to advertisers. It's unfortunate, but that's just kind of how it is. So if you want to support the show in a way that really resonates with the people advertising the show, then watch it live and tell other people to watch it live. Specifically friends with Nielsen boxes, I guess.
Someone here must be able to hack into Nielsen.
Right? Yeah, that's correct. We're nerds. Hack Nielsen. That should be the new campaign. Hack Nielsen.
Save Chuck, hack Nielsen.
Hack Nielsen.
Great slogan.
76%.
Before we go to the next...
And without giving away spoilers of what you saw tonight, if you guys could put out there into the universe that tomorrow night is a can't-miss episode of the show if you're a fan of the show.
Chris, have they given you any indication as to a pickup or not?
No, they haven't. But thank you for asking, Eric.
No, that's fine. That's not here for me. Next audience question, please.
Yes, hi, my name is Hack Nielsen. My question is for Zachary, actually. You started off in season 1 being very much just an uneasy character, completely ill at ease, just in your own body, and over the course of the 3 seasons, it's been a very gradual change to just a complete badass now at this point in this season. So how do you play that type of gradual shift over time? Because it's almost imperceptible, but here it is. How do you play that?
Well, thank you. If it's been imperceptible, I think that's good. I mean, hopefully it's not just sudden, whoa, what the heck happened?
Well, no, it makes sense. It makes sense completely within the character. Just that it's not like, oh, okay, he changed in this episode, and then this episode, and this episode.
Yeah. Well, a lot of that has to do with Chris and Josh and our other writers. It's certain moments that you find throughout the episodes that you kind of choose. Is this going to be a heroic moment? Is this going to be a moment where Chuck kind of stands on his own 2 feet and doesn't back down, doesn't go run away like a little girl? And there's also been major story points. The Intersect 2.0. I mean, that certainly changed the whole game, at least for this season. I don't know. I mean, when I read the pilot, I always hoped that Chuck would eventually get better at this job. That he would, start as this, very ill at ease. This is a world he knows nothing about, and that was much more art imitating life at that point, I think, because that's who I am. Anyway, the point is, so then he, but he goes on more missions, and he gets a little bit better and a little bit better, and then he gets the Intersect 2.0, so he doesn't always need Sarah or Casey to save him, and sometimes he's doing the saving, and that's all excellent and fun, and it's been an incredible adventure to do that. But I think what's really fun about it is that then you have Captain Awesome kind of becoming the Chuck of the situation in those few episodes where he's on missions with us, and now we have, or maybe we don't have Morgan. We'll have to see. And by the way, I literally would love to tell you guys everything, and at the same time, really don't ask, because to me, if I'm a fan of a show, like I don't want anything spoiled, I don't want to spoil anything, so I'm not going to spoil anything. You're just going to have to watch. Thank you.
Hi, I'd like to say thank you very much for all of the hours of entertainment. And I was first turned on to Chuck by my 82-year-old dad. So way to go, Dad.
Go, Dad! He liked Yvonne, didn't he? Was that what that?
He likes it all.
He's like, I need that blonde from Australia. Does he talk like that?
Not quite. No, he's a little bit more hip. He's a hip 82-year-old. But my question is, if you will have any high-profile guest stars?
Other than the what? Nathan Fillion. I wish that picture where I'm grasping his bicep. Apparently, something you talk. I wish that picture was a spoiler for Nathan on the show. Nathan's not on the show. Sorry. Yet. He's busy. He's got his own show that I won't talk about. We love Nathan Fillion. He's one of the coolest guys in the world. And obviously he and Adam worked together for some time, and you all love him. So I don't need to give Nathan any more love. Obviously you love him. Other than the people who have been on the show so far?
Yes.
Well, Scotty Bakula's back. Yeah. In a really big and awesome way. So, look for that. And others who I can't think of at the moment. But Christopher Lloyd.
Really?
And I may or may not call him Doc in the episode.
That gave me so much pleasure.
Dude, it was ridiculous. I wet myself. When I found I was working, and I don't even remember what episode we were in.
He plays a shrink in the episode.
He plays a shrink. And he plays my therapist. And somebody says, yeah, so almost said it in passing, because maybe they assumed that I knew. And they're like, yeah, so Christopher Lloyd's gonna be working tomorrow. I'm like, Christopher Lloyd? Like Doc Brown? Comes over to my trailer. Yeah. Did you hear? Doc Brown. I know! Oh, and he's a hoverboard and on set! It was insane, man. He's the nicest guy in the world, and I don't know. It was crazy. So yeah, look for that. It's awesome. We get to do awesome things.
I was asked by IGN writer Jonah Krakow to ask you guys if there'll be more 80s references, and based on what we just saw with Pretty in Pink and calling Christopher Lloyd Doc, suffice to say yes.
We know no other way.
Thank you.
Hi. Welcome. How are you? First of all, I want to say, fantastic episode, awesome season. It paid off. And I want to ask, with the budget on this season and kind of the revolving cast. This is really for Zach and Adam. How was it kind of dealing with, Morgan's in one episode, Ellie's in another episode, and also I want to know what's all your favorite Subway sandwiches.
The tuna-roni.
The tuna-roni. Has anyone had a tuna-roni, by the way?
It's not bad.
You actually that was a real tuna-roni that you provided?
I actually like Subway's tuna-roni.
It's not Subway's tuna-roni, it's Jeff's tuna-roni.
It's Jeff's tuna-roni.
I think Subway would like to make sure that
it's a surprisingly delicious tuna-roni.
Oh, Subway's across the street?
Wait. Last time someone said that to Zach, he took them all to Subway in London.
Was anybody there? Anybody here that was there? Awesome.
But to answer your question, what was your question again?
What's it like? It's a bummer. Honestly, it's kind of a bummer. It's a bummer not having Josh Gomez in every episode. It's a bummer not having Ryan or Sarah in every episode. It's an unfortunate thing that happens in television and film. Maybe more specifically television, just as how it changes. You know, a film, you kind of know what you're working with when you go into it, and you know, as you go season to season with a show, things happen and budgets are changed, and so that's certainly not. I don't think anybody's super stoked about it. I think we'd all love to be working together every episode, but it is what it is, and I think that these guys have done the best that they can in order to, you know. Sometimes Morgan has to go to the
leadership seminars.
Yeah, the leadership seminars in El Segundo. Like you do.
Hey, it could be worse. You could be going to Hawaii.
Well, he did do that. He did. He just came back.
He came back. But Hawaii.
Yeah, Harry Tang's still over there.
But by the way, Julia Ling is coming back.
She broke my heart. Yeah, right? Bring her back.
More heart crushing.
She did do that. She did do that in one episode, yes. And then favorites, I don't know, turkey breast? Foot long turkey breast on whole wheat with everything? Come on, just throw it in. Veggie Delight. Veggie Light, what? Oh, Veggie Delight. And,
Tuna running.
Thank you.
On whole wheat.
Much healthier that way.
Hi, I just want to say I love your show. All the episodes are great. But this question is for you, Adam.
Uh-oh.
Now that, as your character is Casey, now that you found out that you have a daughter and left behind your wife, are you planning to go back to them or not?
Planning to go back to them?
Yes.
I'm not sure.
Tread carefully.
I'm not sure.
Remember what we said about spoilers, Daddy?
Well, I think I can speak in general terms that when you introduce a character that brings an audience in and wants more of that character, the character tends to have a resolution. I don't know what that might be. I mean, I do. We shot it already, but...
We haven't forgotten that we is that super huge thing. So. And we can forget.
Okay, love you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey guys, first of all, great episode. And I just wanted to know, I'm a little curious about like how things work behind the scenes. So I wanted to know if you had any if you guys played pranks on each other behind the scenes, or if you have any stories to share.
I play a prank where I pretend not to know my lines. they love it, you know.
Yeah.
Like, all right, you got me again.
I never do that. Yvonne's is flatulence, I think. Flatulence.
She's not here to defend herself. No. This is the perfect opportunity.
How's that Laker game?
Yvonne's at a Laker game. She says she's sorry she couldn't be here, but she sends her love. She did. She says that. I got a text message. I'm sure you guys got the same text message. So she loves you guys. She wishes she could be here. She had other engagements. She likes to rip one every once in a while. She does. Ask July, by the way. I'm not just throwing that on her. I like to rip one every once in a while. Who doesn't? The Gas We Pass. You ever read that book? Everyone Poops. You ever read that one?
The holes in your nose?
A two-hump camel has a two-hump poop. Just kidding. I love that book. It's good reading. We're not super prank heavy. I wish we were. That would make for great anecdotes. I crapped in his toilet once when he didn't know. Dry doctor, left it there. And then Yvonne ratted me as she ratted you out.
You think that's funny? Okay. Governor Duke and you
Yvonne's going to see the footage of this and go, guys, what did you say all that? You weren't here. I don't know.
You're finding more out about your toilet habits than I ever thought possible.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Nothing like a good steamer in the morning. Coffee. What's next? Is everyone on their knees behind you? It's like the love train. Everybody's just kind of chicka like into the mic. That's hysterical.
Bowing down before the Chuck people.
I guess.
I don't know. How can we top that? That last riff. I don't know how we're going to top that.
Oh, we can top it. We can top it. Do it. Go. Many more questions.
Need a setup. Come on.
First off, best episode ever. Zach, you just killed Superman. That was awesome. I just want to say I love the series, and Adam, this is to you. I actually told you this at your autograph booth. You know, I know with the news of Independence Day and everything, making sequels, and I know we'd love to see you back in the film, but in the actual show, do you think, since you guys make so many references to comics and everything and 80s shows, do you think you would ever make references to your character on Independence Day in the show?
Major Mitchell?
Yeah.
That'd be great. Yeah, we got a Major Mitchell reference. That'd be great. Yeah. He'd probably be a brigadier general by now. I'd have to call Will Smith. I'm going to call up Will Smith and say, hey, Will, kid in college, maybe the off-season hiatus, would you like a brigadier general upgrade? Promotion for Mitchell? Why not? I ran into Brent Spiner down on the floor. He was down there. You all know Brent Spiner. And he was like, hey, you hear about the sequels, Independence Day? I didn't really die in that. That alien didn't really strangle me out until I was dead, right? Hope springs eternal. There'll be a conflict, though, in season 4.
Next question, please.
Hey, Zach, my name's Jairus Maragopoulos. I was wondering if you ever get back down to Ojai.
Jairus, how are you, buddy? Oh my God! I haven't seen you since you were like 11. Marvin's Room, buddy.
Yeah.
We did community theater together in Ojai, California.
So my dad calls me up and said, you won't believe who's on the TV.
Who was it?
I want to say congratulations.
Thanks, man.
This is an amazing role. I really like what you're doing with it. I love the show.
Thank you so much, Jairus. So good to see you, man.
Good to see you.
Hey, give your family my love, okay? All right.
What's your song?
Happy Easter.
What's your song?
Happy Easter, everybody. A lot of devout Catholics out there right now? I don't think so. Just the cheerleaders. Just the cheerleaders, yeah. You look very Catholic, man. Ma'ams.
Resurrect.
Plural. Somebody tweeted Happy Zombie Jesus Day. That's pretty hysterical. Who's next? Moving right along.
Make another question.
Happy Passover as well.
And Passover. And Passover. Yes. I had a Seder dinner. Anyone else? All right. Mean Gomez.
I'm Yvonne, and I'd like to I tell you that my kids, as well as myself, I have a 4-year-old and a 7-year-old, we all love the show. My son says it didn't have that much violence. And he kind of says some shows are too violent for him. But anyway, I want to say that I love the rapport between so many of you. It's so obvious here and on camera. Did you and Josh, I'm sure some of these people already know this, but did you know each other before the show started, Josh and Zach, or did you just become great friends on the show? I'm just curious.
No, we didn't become friends on the show either. No, we did not know each other before. We all sat down. G had us all sit down for like a little lunch, like get to know each other lunch, which is actually a very good idea. You know, with television, shooting a pilot, you know, you gotta pretend to be best friends with somebody who you don't know from Adam.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Don't anger him. We quickly found out that we had have many things in common, not the least of which being video games, and that kind of greased the wheels, as it were. And you know, he's one of the greatest dudes I've ever met. What's that? COD. Fable 3. Anyone excited for Fable 3? Yeah. Less than I thought. That's kind of interesting. All right, whatever.
Yeah, working for IGN, I have to ask, did Sarah cut all of their controllers' cords to free Morgan? Because they'd have to replace all of them.
Oh, yeah, right. We did. Oh, what's it? Oh,
That was a couple $100 worth of damage.
Yeah.
Oh, so,
My buddy says, meet me in the back. I don't know what.
It's my buddy James. I'm kidding.
All right, next question, please.
Hey Zach, so there have been a couple, clips like from some shows you've been in on YouTube, and like of you singing. And I was wondering if maybe in future episodes you would sing a little bit, like a little
For all of you who couldn't see, he goes, if you would, sing. As if there's got to be some kind of dance for you.
That looks like the signal from Team America.
I've been asked that question before. As much, I love singing. I grew up doing a lot of musical theater and stuff like that. If that's what you're excited about, I don't know. I love Oklahoma. Anyway, point is, I don't know. I feel like, and I haven't talked to Josh or Chris about this, I feel like Chuck, the musical episode, it's if you can imagine with me for a second, here's the shark, and here's us just flying over, and then, there's the fawns as well, and then we're like way above all of it. I don't know. What if you flashed?
You were at Flash. And you were like in Vegas.
It was like a lounge, No shark? No shark. No, I don't know. I think shows like Scrubs, Buffy, they supported that. I think the premises and where the shows were at that point, like you could get away with it. I don't know if we could do that on the show.
Plus, you don't really want to step on the toes of Jeffster.
Yeah, and Jeffster was already our musical act. Jeffster.
And will we be seeing Jeffster again before the end of the season?
You'll be seeing more of Jeffster than you could ever possibly.
Next question, please.
Hi, I love you guys. I love the show.
I love you too.
Yay! I just wanted to ask the whole panel what your favorite episodes of the show are.
Wow.
Schwartz.
I really like the one we just saw tonight. Mr. Fedak wrote that one. I was enjoying that episode. I also really loved Christmas of season 2, the Die Hard episode in the Weimar.
I gotta say, this year, episode 9, which Zach directed, Chuck versus the Beard, which is some of the best direction, and we've actually some fantastic direction, as well as just an amazing performance from Josh Gomez, who's just wonderful. We talked a lot about was bringing Gomez into the spy world, and it's been wonderful.
Thank you. Yeah. That's all. I agree with you too, by the way. Yeah, that's a great episode. I don't know. It's tough. I think every one of them is. Every episode we do has something that we all kind of come away with and go, wow, I really liked how that happened, or how that went down, or some kind of really fun moment or revelation in the show. The Christmas episode was great. I mean, really every episode that I think that we can get everybody in the cast together is always kind of a favorite of ours. That's one of the reasons why I also enjoyed 9, was because everybody got to be in it. I loved being able to direct it. I loved that Morgan gets to find out the secret. That was all excellent. I loved episode 5 of the season on the plane. I thought that had a lot of fun, and Stone Cold Steve Austin and Hannah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. There's
season
14 that's coming up. Not obviously this was 13. 14. That was a really fun episode to do. I don't know. All this stuff with Scotty Bakula. It's great. Yeah. Josh. Ditto. What are you, Demi Moore and Ghosts? How tall is this box? Get that working out. Yeah. Fireplace all of a sudden. What are we making? It's an Eiffel Tower.
My favorite episode was. Go through them. My favorite episode was getting some revenge on Robert Patrick. If any of you recall in X-Files, I was a super soldier who was deathly allergic to a substance called magnetite. It was really my kryptonite, and unfortunately I didn't wear my magnetite detector, being a not so super soldier, and I was disintegrated into a mountain of it in the finale. So to have Robert Patrick back and break his neck was a winner in my book.
Thank you.
We have time for one last question.
Oh, what? Seriously? There's like 20 people on their knees back there.
And cheerleaders. Every time.
Hi, my name's Cecilia. I love the show. I love all you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I did actually come from church today.
All right.
I wanted to ask you guys, with everybody changing, like Casey's being nice, how do you keep the soul of the show? You know, like, we all kind of like, because you all were kind of nerdy and we can identify. So how do you...
Well, I stay nerdy. But for us, the important thing for the show is that it still remained the Chuck show, and it's about a regular guy that has become better as a spy, but he's still distinctly Chuck, and that's important. I mean, you know, it's like this episode that we just saw. It's very specific what happens at the very end. You know how he shoots Shaw. So it's not like we're going to turn it into Jack Bauer or James Bond or a different type of spy show. It'll always be about the great characters. That,
what? I already know, so I'm just feigning.
No, but I mean, so essentially that's the heart of the show, and I mean, I think that if that's important to us.
In case you can't ever be that nice.
Yeah.
Oh, I won't be.
Do we really not have time?
Even if you write me nice.
Really? No more time?
They're telling us now. But, well, everyone, don't give anything away from this episode, but tell everyone to watch this episode. And I wanted to thank everyone from Chuck for coming.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for all your love and your support. Thank you so much.
And they're not turning.
Yeah, so that pretty much wrapped it up as far as the Chuck stuff that went on at WonderCon. It was a lot of fun. We got some good stuff. It's always a good time when the Chuck people are in the house.
Mm-hmm.
Always a good time. So,
Yep.
And I got to meet Kay Lindsay, who I've been enjoying talking of Chuck with on ChuckTV.net. I never did meet up with Snickers, dude.
Oh, and that was a question I was going to ask. Since we've been doing these video podcasts, I'm assuming that more people would recognize you. Did anybody just spontaneously recognize you?
I did. I had a couple of people recognize me, and I'm not great with remembering names and faces.
Mm-hmm.
So they came up and said, "Hey, Mel," and I'm like, "Hey," and I'm trying to think, where do I know this person from? and then they said, we just love the podcast, and so, whew. I hadn't met him before. It was just, Thanks, Gray, the video podcast.
Yeah.
So it was a little surreal, but it kind of makes for an instant Chuck community when that sort of thing happens. So that was neat. And then I actually had several of the reporters in the press room tell me that they really enjoy the site, and they stop by every day or two and to get their Chuck fix. Yeah. So, and they watch the podcast, and somebody said, "Hey, are you the one that writes the Friday Fives?" And
very cool.
So I guess there's more people out there looking than we thought. Paying attention. So.
Groovy.
Fun stuff. San Francisco, I didn't get to see a whole lot of it, but what I did see was interesting. It was Angie and her sister, Angie from the Sarah Walker Fangirls, and her sister and I went out on Saturday evening to get some supper and just kind of walk around, and we found ourselves in a part of town that wasn't that far away from our hotels, but it had us a little nervous because it was after dark, and so we headed back quickly. But I really did not have a lot of time to explore the city, which is I am going to have to go back when I've got more time. Because what I did see, I was in the downtown area, and it was very pretty. I really like the old buildings and stuff. And the earthquake hit.
Oh, neat.
But we were too far north.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't hear, I didn't feel anything. I didn't know. We were in the press room, and Twitter started lighting up about an earthquake, and we didn't feel a thing.
Yeah, my wife was ribbing me about that because we want to eventually move to LA, and she just hates the thought of earthquakes.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're in tornado watch here, so.
Yeah, that's lovely. We're in the Chicago area, and we had our own little shake-up here a few weeks back.
We just have snow.
Oh, those Canadians. They just don't want to rock the boat. Yeah.
Yep. I really hope Chuck gets renewed because I know I won't get to go to Comic-Con this year, and I have to get to one sometime. So I'm hoping maybe WonderCon next year.
Yeah. Or possibly New York Comic-Con in October.
Yeah, could be.
Maybe. So.
Well, so is that all you have, or?
I think so. I hope you enjoyed that. Those videos, and kind of going behind the scenes at WonderCon.
And we want to thank our sponsors, Movie Morons Podcast, which is a great podcast talking about film. And actually, they have some really cool interviews. They have interviewed some neat people who worked on some classic films. And so I urge you to check that out. There's some really, really interesting stuff on that podcast. And also our other sponsor, SyrianJunkies.de, an amazing German fan site for television. I guess not just a fan site, but anybody who's interested in watching television who happens to speak German, that's the place you want to go. It's the biggest German TV website. And also, actually, I do want to mention, if you're interested in sponsoring the podcast, we'd be happy to talk to you about getting your ad here. You can get mentions on the podcast, you can get little ads on the website, and we'd be happy to promote your service right here.
That's right.
Absolutely.
So we're going to wrap things up, and that is all we have. We don't have any spoilers this week, and we do want to remind you that we will be taking a break for at least the next couple of weeks. You'll probably see us back when Chuck resumes, April 26th, Monday night at 8 p.m. Make sure you're watching. Make sure all your friends, coworkers, family, and even your dog are watching live at 8 p.m. on Monday, April 26th. And we'll see you probably that Friday of that week. Will be when we'll be coming back. And so we could have an exciting interview for you at that time. It's a few weeks away, so we're not sure what we'll be able to line up before then. But until then, we want to wish you a great Chuck hiatus.
That's right. And don't forget to stop by chucktv.net and participate in Chuck Declassified to introduce new viewers to the show.
That's right. And if you have any questions or comments, of course, feel free to share them with us. You can email us at mail@chuckpodcast.com.
And last but not least, remember that April 15th is the time that the old podcast feed at iTunes will be discontinued. The one that says Enhanced AAC in brackets will no longer be active after April 15th. So make sure to unsubscribe from that one and subscribe to our new feed. You can get all the information about that at chuckpodcast.com, and you can also get that in the iTunes store by searching for Chuck versus the Podcast and looking for the version that doesn't have brackets. But that's all we have, and have a great time promoting Chuck with your family and friends. See you soon.
Ciao.
Bye, Chucksters.
Go to chucktv.net because it's about Chuck and it's on TV, but on the net. But mostly to save us Chuck.